Hey everyone, so I am just going to go through some things probably that Melissa already covered this morning in the meeting, but just so you have it to go back to later on, just in case you forgot something. Um, so Melissa probably covered, and you guys should already have your class codes. Now then, if you forget how to get your class code, I'm not going to go through how to set up an account because I'm sure that you guys have already all figured out the basics. But if you do forget your class code, if you'll go to the teacher dashboard, which is where I am right now, and click on your class, um, if this page doesn't pop up whenever you first go there, it's under settings, and then your class code will be right here. And that's the code that your students need. They're going to set their Khan Academy up in English, but they will need their class code, and we'll set theirs up for math within your class period at some point. But this is just how you would access it. Now then, in order for you guys to get access to see what they're doing in the SAT test prep, and some of you may not want it. I think English and math talked about we for sure want it, but I'm not sure about science. If you do want access to that, you're going to need to make sure that these boxes are checked. You don't really have to have this one checked, and if you don't want an email, then you might not want that one. But I do think it would be beneficial, so I'm going to leave both of those checked. I did go through, and my family members are probably going to get aggravated because I used their names to set up fake accounts so that I could make sure that I was doing this right. But whenever I went through and I set up an account as a teacher, I didn't actually have to request access if I chose these settings to begin with. So you may not have to do this, but whenever you go to SAT, if for some reason it doesn't have, if you don't have access to your students to see their data, like right here, we added Ryan Timberlake to my class. I'm linked to Ridley. I'm her coach on her dashboard, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. But I'm not linked to Ryan. So what that would look like is if this does happen and you're not linked, if you'll just go, I clicked on this SAT, this will bring up all of my students, or should, and I can just click on right here where it says resend SAT data sharing request. I can just click on that, and oops, sorry, this is on my computer. This will actually pop up in Ryan's notification. So up here at this dashboard on your students, and I'll show you guys this in a second, under their notifications, this is where it will actually show them that a teacher has requested to access their data, and they'll have to accept it. So I'm going to take a second and I'm going to log into Ridley's page to show you guys what the student page looks like. So I'm back, and now I'm logged in as Ridley. So this is just to show you again what the student side of this would look like. So if you look at this under notifications, this is where I signed up as Jordan, and this is where I requested to be Ridley's coach. And this was just so that I would be linked to her data. So if for some reason you can't see your students on the SAT column on the side, whenever you go to their name, if it says resend notification, this is where they would find that, and they would actually, your students would actually go and accept it so that you could have access to it. Okay, so let's see what this would look like. Some of you guys might be wondering what is going to be available to the students. So if we go to Learner Home, and they can have access to all of this information. They don't just have to go to SAT. But the SAT would be just to practice questions. And we don't actually have to assign anything. So once the students get on here, if they haven't taken a PSAT and it's not linked to their PSAT, which all of our freshmen are not, they can take a diag quiz so that it will put them where they need to be as far as practice. All they would have to do without us assigning anything is just go to practice up here, and this is where they would find those diag tests. Now then, this is going to take some time that they might have to do it on their own. But our idea later on is for them to actually, if you see right here, take a full length test, and we'll talk about that later. But they have the math diag test, and then it's going to assign them practice based on where they tested, and then they would also have the reading and writing diag quizzes. If you're wondering, just in case you missed it, if you're wondering how your students would add you as a teacher, if you'll go to Learner Home, and then over here on the side where it says teachers, this is actually where you would add, you would have your code up there and the students would just input it, join the class, and then it should pop up that you're their teacher. So if whenever they enroll in your class, if they're not seeing your name up here, then you did something wrong and you might need to go back and correct your email. And then again, to get access to their SAT data, if you haven't got it already, if you resend that link, the students need to be looking up here in their notifications. I hope I covered everything. Surely between the two meetings, or the meeting this morning and this video, I hope we've answered your questions. But if you guys need anything else, let us know. Thanks so much.